Welcome. Today we're going to talk about how flipping notes is different than flipping houses. So if you're unfamiliar with the concept of flipping notes, when I say notes, I'm referring to the mortgage and the promissory note, or the deed of trust and the promissory note. I'm really referring to the paperwork. So in the notes business, they often call it the paper. And how this is different than houses. This is different because what you're actually doing here is when a mortgage is put on a property, a private loan, for example, and there's a mortgage that's created and there's a promissory note. In other videos, I've talked about the difference between the two, but real quickly, the promissory note is the term spelled out in the loan. It's the promise to pay back money, and it spells out the interest rate and the due dates and all of that. The mortgage, or the deed of trust, depending on what state you're in, actually pledges the property as collateral for that note. Okay, but what happens is you can actually take the note on a property and you can sell that note to somebody else. So think about it. How many of you have ever had a mortgage, let's say your personal residence, and all of a sudden you get something in the mail that says, hey, the bank changed who owns your loan, make your payments here now. Right? It happens all the time. Banks sell their paper all the time to other institutions, other banks. Well, as a strategy, you can do the same thing with bank properties. It's a little trickier, but with private loans, so these would be individuals and private entities that do seller financing and private mortgages, you can actually find a note buyer and you can flip that note to a note buyer. It cashes out the note holder, the person who's holding that note, and you can get paid a wholesale fee or a finder fee for flipping that note. So you can find a note holder who's got a private mortgage with somebody. You can find a note buyer who wants to buy that note and take over payments. You can line those two up and get paid a wholesale fee. Now, the reason why I share this is because it's a really exciting strategy, because it's not the house, it's the loan on the house. Meaning there's no repairs involved, there's no home inspection, really. There's really nothing to do with the house. It all has to do with the paper. Your due diligence is a little different because now you're looking at, the interest rate and how much that loan's producing in cash flow, seasoning, and some other requirements. But the point is it's really nice. It's a really cool strategy, flipping notes, because you don't have to deal with all of the things that go into flipping houses. In fact, if you're interested in learning how to flip notes, below this video in the description box, I'll put a link to my free note flipping book, and it talks about the 6 steps to flipping notes. There's some really good information that outlines the whole process of how you can make money flipping notes without any cash or credit. And it's a really cool strategy. If you're into flipping, if you like the idea of getting in and out of deals quickly, which is my favorite, if you like wholesaling, if you like flipping houses, you're gonna love flipping notes, because it's one more way to quickly make a lot of cash without ever owning or managing a property. And for a lot of people, that's very appealing. For me, that's very appealing because you don't take on all the long-term ramifications that go into owning and managing property. And so that's the tip I wanted to share with you today, and I'll see you next time.